Hey friend, this is episode number 523 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so.
Hello, welcome to the And So podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for being here. OMG, I have a lot to catch you up on. I've had the craziest 48 hours and then some very emotional things before those crazy 48 hours. And I recorded my 10th anniversary episode with my editor, Zach, the podcast man. And that was a fantastic conversation. So I'm looking forward to you being able to listen to that coming up on July 2nd. That is when my 10th anniversary episode debuts, gets published, goes on air. Man, what a ride. 10 years, almost 10 years. So crazy to think about. So let's talk about the crazy 48 hours and some other things mixed in. First up, just a quick nod. Today would have been my brother's birthday. He would have turned 41 years old. He passed away at, I think he was 25, 26 when he passed away. And my brother and I, we fought like cats and dogs when we were younger. We did not have a whole lot in common as far as where we thought we were in the world, what we could contribute. And I'll never forget my freshman year of college, he made a comment to me. He was like, "You're sheltered." And I'm like, brother, I am not. You are, however. So we didn't really get an opportunity to learn who each other were. When I turned 30, he called me up and said he was going to send me a birthday gift. And it had been a very, very long time since he'd even actually acknowledged my birthday. And so I was like, no, you don't have to do that. And then I tried giving him a call. When did he call me? I think he called me a couple weeks after my 30th birthday. And then a week later, he passed away. He was not found for 9 days, and he passed away by himself, which triggered an investigation. And anyways, so he would have been 41 years old. He was actually born on Father's Day, so it makes Father's Day kind of a challenge for my father. And so today would have been his 41st birthday. And let's talk about the crazy 48 hours. So leading up to the crazy 48 hours, really it was a crazy 24 hours. But I'm just going to classify it as 48. So we got word that Chad's grandmother, who is 99, was not doing well, taken to the hospital, sent her home, thought they got it fixed. And they didn't. They put her on a wrong medication. She went into AFib. Anyways, they sent her home on hospice, and he had family members telling him, "You need to get here. She won't make it the night," et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I stayed behind. He went, I believe, on Thursday last week. And then his dad got his mom ready, took his mom down there. And then my sister-in-law got her baby ready and went down there. So they were there actually for a few days. She made it those few days they were there. She passed away Sunday morning at 3:39 a.m. And my husband had just been with her. He came home Saturday evening late, and she passed away Sunday morning. And while we were in Colorado, we had our side-by-side with us, and we got rained on, but thankfully we're a lot more prepared for that possibility, except that it rained so much that it still came into our side-by-side through the roof at the windshield. And so we just had puddles of water at our feet trying to get back. And so it started my husband thinking about a Jeep. So we bought a Jeep, and Sunday morning I took him to the airport to fly to South Carolina. And so he bought the Jeep, drove it back, got to Monroe, Louisiana, and was like, I got a pit stop. I've fallen asleep. So he got back yesterday. Well, we left early Sunday morning so I can get him to the airport. He had an 8 a.m. flight out. And we opened our garage door, and there is this bifold closet door literally at our garage door. And my husband goes, man, I heard some loud crashing, but I just thought it was a storm because we've had a crazy, wicked storm season. And he said, I heard 2 different times, but I just kind of chalked it up to it being a storm. I didn't think we were being vandalized. And it was dark, so I couldn't see the damage to our garage door. And I have a camera, so I was like, I'll look it up. And I could see, without watching the video, I could see some gentlemen at our garage door around 1:30 in the morning. So I was like, I'm going to get him to the airport. I'm going to go straight to the police station when I get back to town, and I'm going to report it. And then if there is damage, then I will, share that as well. And so I dropped Chad off, and then I drove straight back to town and went to the police station. The reason I did that without having an officer come out and see the damage in person was because I didn't want any sirens. Not that I thought they would have sirens, but I have a new tenant who, anyways, I just didn't want that. So I didn't want to freak her out. While I was waiting for an officer to come out, I was watching the video, and there were 3 very young gentlemen who attacked my garage door. They chunked the closet bifold door at my garage door within close range. One of the others waylaid with his feet at my garage door. That person lost their shoe. They tumped over one of my trash cans. And then I heard them hop the fence across the street at the school. And then 3 minutes later, the one that lost his shoe came back, picked up his shoe, kicked the garage door, banged on the garage door with the shoe before putting the shoe back on and running back off. So gave the report to the police, said I did want to prosecute because that is uncalled for behavior. And yeah, so I filled out the form. Officer actually knew who at least one of the gentlemen was or were. And so I imagine that will get resolved fairly quickly because the officer was an SRO in the school system and evidently had quite a few interactions with the gentlemen that were on camera. So dealt with that. And then I went and worked in the garden for several hours. We were getting rain. I thought we were getting more rain. And it was just a wild bit of time. And so then my husband got back around noon. I had to hook up to our dump trailer and get it delivered over to one of our customers' houses. I wasn't sure how to hook up the dump trailer because it's one of those like fifth wheel style. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I getting it hooked up correctly? It's been a long time since I've had to hook up a fifth wheel. I did, thankfully. I did it. I did a good job. Good job, Taylor. And so, yeah, it was just wild. And so we're like, last night, I'm like, I cannot believe I just dropped you off at the airport yesterday morning. Like, how is this the same 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever, all melding together? It's crazy. It's crazy. But beyond the wild, my husband is really taking it hard. I think this is the first, actually, I know, this is the first family member that he has lost as an adult. And his grandmother helped raise him. And yeah, so we're dealing with things. And I'm not sure when the funeral is, probably next week. But yeah, so it's been challenging. All that to say, I've not done a whole lot of reading. And I feel like some of the things, even since coming back from Colorado, I've been trying to do a new routine. I am still trying to work the routine, but like when life happens, you get sidelined. And so I'm trying to reframe how to best get myself back into the swing of things and into the routine that I think will work. But so we'll see. So I just started taking a new supplement from Hilma, and it's specifically for digestion and everything related to your gut. And this stuff has really, really, really worked for me. I saw one of my influencer friends utilizing it, and I finally decided, you know what? I'm going to try that out. As I've gotten older, things don't work the same way, and I'd like digestive help. So I take their digestive enzymes to help me process gluten and dairy. And then there's some other options that you have that I just kind of buy they have a 3-pack. It's their De-Bloat and Digest bundle. It's $55 as of this recording, and it works. And the reason I was on the hunt for something else outside of my essential oils, because I actively use Digest from Young Living, is that Digest is a very powerful smelling essential oil, and my husband cannot stand the way it smells. And so ultimately I was trying to reduce the amount of Digest I was having to use, and just overall trying to create a better flow for me in helping me digest food and to eliminate some of the discomfort that I experience with gluten and dairy. And this has really, really worked. I actually ran out of one of the items, the De-Bloat one, and while we were in Colorado. So I went to Walmart and found an alternative that had similar ingredients, but it was not the same. It was not the same. It actually made my stomach issues worse. And so I immediately reordered from Hilma. So if you have anything like that or are in a similar boat, I can give you $10 off your first order. And you can use my code. Just go to bossgirlcreative.com/Hilma, and it's spelled Hilma. So bossgirlcreative.com/Hilma. I'm working to see if I can become an ambassador for them because I really love their product. And so we will see. But for now, I can give you $10 off your order. And that is using bossgirlcreative.com/Hilma for that. So yeah, I'm just grateful to have found a product that works, that isn't full of junk, isn't full of chemicals, has natural herbs in there. And I experience great relief. And it really does. The enzymes really do help me digest. And I see more and more influencers talking about the trifecta they use, especially when traveling. And a lot of people are taking digestive enzymes. So it seems to be working. They're not necessarily using Hilma, but Hilma works for me, and maybe it'll work for you. So in the process of me trying to become an ambassador for Hilma, I went back to ChatGPT and was like, hey, I need an elevator pitch. You've been paying attention to my transcripts of my podcast episodes because I load them in every single week to help me create a title and an introduction for the podcast show notes and help me with carousels based on the theme of, that week's episode, etc. And how would you create an elevator pitch for my show? Because I need to put something into the actual application that shares what And So is all about. And I was having the conversation yesterday with my editor and kind of talking about that I've made this podcast more of a talk show kind of thing with segments, and how do I now describe my show? Because there's still business nuggets. I still talk to you about, what I'm going through from almost like a audio journal for you, if you will. And so it freaking gave me something amazing. And then I just kind of fluffed it a little bit more. So here's what it helped me write. It's part business advice, part journal, part pep talk. It's where I share what it actually takes to build a creative, multi-passionate business without losing your mind or your voice along the way. Think of it like this. If you've ever felt like you are figuring business out mid-air, And So is the place where I name that, walk through it, and share what's helping me move forward. I was like, oh my gosh, now I need an Instagram bio version of that. And so then we workshopped that, and now I have a new Instagram bio, and holy crap, you guys, if you're sleeping on ChatGPT, it can be such an amazing tool. And I am still working on the thing that I really want to release to you beyond the 5-day email challenge, which I think is still a very strong, solid thing. I just have to still figure out some logistics for it. But I want to create a membership that you can subscribe to and have access to everything I'm asking ChatGPT and why. And in order for you to understand how you can prompt it and help you create your own ChatGPT or your own GPT and your voice, like what that process is like, because now I have that set up for the podcast. So when I do talk to it, I am in my own voice. And so it's like I'm talking to myself, which is really kind of amazing. It's really kind of amazing. So wow. So I use that as part of my ambassador pitch for Hilma, and fingers crossed on that, because I think it's a no-brainer for me. It's a no-brainer for me to talk about Hilma because it's actually working for me. And I don't think I will live another day without it because it is that good. Okay, so let's dive into compounding social media interests. Let's give you a stat update. So again, you guys remember, or if you're new to the show, I started tracking my stats on January 27th. Let me flip my page here. And I've been tracking them weekly. So what am I doing? I am creating one short form piece of content and sharing it to YouTube through Shorts, sharing it to TikTok, and sharing it to Instagram Reels. I'm also sharing it as a trial reel. So I'm doing 2 for Instagram. And I just started putting it through Facebook, my Facebook page, as a reel. And I haven't been really good at keeping track of the Facebook stats, but I have been keeping track of all the other things. And initially the week started out slow. I don't know if it's the headspace that I'm in, or I don't know. Or maybe it's because I changed the timing of when I was posting. I don't know, but I had some slow growth in the very beginning of the week, and then it kind of picked up. And I don't believe I had any growth on Instagram. We're about to find out though. Okay, so I started tracking again on January 27th. On YouTube, I had 234 subscribers. Last week I was at 488. This week I'm at 491. Very, very little movement over on YouTube, partly because also I didn't get 2 long form pieces of content published. I continued with the short form content, but a little slow there. TikTok, I started tracking at 139. Last week I was at 1,096. This week I'm at 1,163. So I did finally create a TikTok that resonated, and I started getting followers. So I was able to get some momentum back over on TikTok. Last week I was at 11,431 likes on TikTok. This week I'm at 11,818 likes. And when I started tracking the likes on TikTok, I was at 1,386. So a lot of growth since January on likes and follows. And then on Instagram, I started tracking at 3,470. Last week, I was at 3,586. And I did gain 4 people. I'm at 3,590. But again, slow growth there. And just overall, I don't know, just wasn't in a good headspace. And yeah, so that's stats. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I love reality competition shows like Top Chef and America's Got Talent. And what else have I been watching lately? What else just finished? Oh, there's a new one with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Oh my gosh, Danny Duquette. If you are an original Grey's Anatomy fan, and obviously if you're a Walking Dead fan, then you liked him there. But he has a reality competition show, and it's good. I enjoy it. So anyways, I am watching Top Chef. And I'm watching the season finale and the episode before the finale. That's when this happened. The episode before the finale, they partner the remaining 4 chefs with Team USA, 2 from Team USA Olympians and 2 Team USA Paralympians. And During one of their conversations as they're getting to know each other, one of the Olympians says this, and I was like, holy crap, that is a fantastic podcast business nugget. The chef asks this Olympian, how do you stay at the top? Because Olympians are literally at their best of the best. They have it's crazy amount of pressure to be an Olympian and to be gold medal, to be a medalist in general. You're competing against the world and you're competing against your own teammates who are also representing Team USA. And at the end of the day, one person is standing at the top of the podium. And this is how she responds. Pressure is a privilege. If you care enough, that's why you have the pressure. That's why you will do well. And I was like, where's a mic? Let's drop it on the ground. That was such a good nugget. I hit pause. I rewound. I had to catch the words because I was like, oh, we have such privilege being able to be business owners. And the pressure behind growing a business is privilege. And pressure is something that drives you. And if you care enough about the thing that you're growing, it's a privilege to have the pressure. Pressure is a privilege. Oh my gosh. I hope you take that away because I was like, that is so true. Pressure is a privilege. It is a privilege to have the choice to be a small business owner. It truly is a privilege to have that choice. So it is a privilege to have the pressure that goes with having a business. And I think sometimes we get stuck in the trenches. I know I do. We get stuck in the trenches and we don't know where the escape route is. We don't know where if you think about an ocean, if you're down deep, it's so dark and it takes a while before you see the light that you know that you're swimming to the top to be able to break through and get air. And that's similar to business. We can get into the weeds. We can get stuck in the muck. But it is a privilege to even have that pressure, to have the choice to own a business. And that little nugget is from the bobsledder, U.S. Olympian, Alana Myers-Taylor. And what a fantastic nugget that was. Now it's time for the new series of the podcast, Search Bar Confessions. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have so much fun with this series, especially when I have guests on the show. So let's find out my search bar confessions for the week. So here's what I Googled. Here's what I asked Mr. Google. I actually wanted to know how to make red pepper flakes. I specifically am growing cayenne peppers so that I can do this because my husband and I eat red pepper flakes a lot, especially on pizza. So I Googled that. I made my first ever pickles. I canned pickles, you guys. And so I had to Google for a recipe, and I ended up using one from Ball Mason jars, and they turned out good. I actually opened them yesterday, and not too shabby. So I did some Googling on that. Somebody asked me if I sold tomatoes in a bushel, and I was like, a what? Yes, I have heard of a measuring. Specifically, I've heard somebody say the word bushel before, but I was like, no, I don't even know what the measurement of a bushel is. So I asked Google. I was like, no, I'm sorry. I sell it by the basket. I just fit some tomatoes in the basket and I sell them that way. And P.S., I've already made money from my farm stand, which I debuted last week. So yeah, I'm using Facebook Marketplace, which is helping drive people to my Facebook page so that they can follow along and find out what I have for sale when I have it for sale. And it's working. So I got asked, do I sell in bushels? No, I don't sell in bushels. I'm not that big of a farmer. I also Googled how to harvest corn because I wasn't sure how to do that. And I have some corn ready. And so I harvested my first corn and hallelujah, I actually grew corn from seed. That's crazy pants. And then finally, I learned via Google and YouTube how to create a tempura batter because I wanted to fry up some zucchini, but I didn't want to do it the traditional method. And so I learned how to tempura, which was wild. I did use Topo Chico. I would not recommend that in the future, but I now know how to tempura. It is very, very easy. It's flour, it's cornstarch, and it's soda water. It fluffs up once it hits the oil. It is the coolest science experiment ever. But yeah, so that is my search bar confessions for the week. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in this week. And I will be back next week with more journal talk, more business pep talk, more business nuggets, and more search bar confessions. Until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your week. And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.